a bunch of guys, and a couple of them that have played, but most of them who have an opinion about what something should be when they haven't done it. Those who can do, those who can't talk about, those who can. Those who have know what they're talking about. Those who haven't don't. People need to shut up.
They told me I didn't have a lot of time.
August 15th, the movie opens, though. You need to go to the movie.
Denzel Washington has stepped forward in full support of Shadur Sanders following the recent injury reports, and he's making it clear, Shadur isn't slowing down. He's pushing forward stronger than ever. With a firm and unapologetic tone, Denzel called out the critics, declaring that the people who sit behind TV desks and talk against Shadur have no real understanding of the game. According to him, unless you've played it, lived it, and felt the pressure on the field, you have no place to judge. Those who have been in the trenches know exactly what Shadur is capable of, and those who haven't simply don't. This isn't just about defending Shadur, it's about setting the record straight.
The connective tissue in this film, to me, is fatherhood. There's three black fathers who are just trying to do the best thing for their kids. I think a lot in sports recently with Shedeur Sanders and Bronny James, you see the pressure and the criticism of
Denzel Washington didn't hold back as he made it clear that the noise around Shedeur Sanders has gotten out of control. He called it exactly what it is, people talking without truly knowing what they're talking about. With sharp wit, he mocked the critics, pointing out that the same journalists who spend their days sitting on TV, growing comfortable and out of touch, are the ones quick to label Shadur as bad. Denzel made it clear that these so-called experts aren't out there on the field, taking hits or making plays. They're just watching from a distance and building opinions on empty narratives. For him, their words hold no weight compared to the reality Shadur is proving every time he steps on the field. Denzel didn't stop there. He took it a step further, throwing down a challenge to Shadur's doubters. He declared that if anyone thinks he's just talking for the sake of it, they should come and hit the gym with him. With confidence in his voice, he made it clear he's ready to put in the work right alongside Shadur and prove his point. And if that's not enough, Denzel even said he's willing to throw the big shots, figuratively and literally, at anyone who still believes otherwise. For him, defending Shadur isn't just about words, it's about action, strength, and proving the critics wrong where it really counts.
Those are bars.
Serious.
You know, just...
Come get up here with me. Let's find out. Come get in the gym with me. Let's find out.
I mean,
I don't mean you.
We saw you.
But I can throw my hands. I can do it. I can sure do it.
I
can do it for real.
Denzel went on to say that he has no doubt Shadur can play, and play at the highest level. He acknowledged that everybody is entitled to an opinion, but pointed out that most of the people who hate on Shadur have absolutely no idea what it feels like to be out there on the field. They've never stood in the pocket with defenders charging at them, never felt the weight of a game on their shoulders, never experienced the split-second decisions that can make or break a play. To Denzel, their criticism comes from a place of ignorance, not insight. And that's exactly why he refuses to take their words seriously.
I mean, listen, Shakur can play, for real. And everybody's got an opinion. In fact, we live in a world of opinionaires. That's what I call them, opinionaires. They're all the shows, a bunch of guys, and a couple of them that have played, but most of them who have an opinion about what something should be.
Denzel then turned up the heat on Shedur's haters, telling them plainly that if they can't actually do something productive, they should just go buy a ticket and watch one of his movies instead. In his view, that would be a far better use of their time than sitting around and tearing someone down. Rather than wasting energy criticizing from the sidelines, he suggested they focus on something that actually adds value. Because complaining about a player who's out there putting in the work does nothing but expose their own bitterness. Denzel went on to take a direct shot at Tony Grossi, saying that his criticism of Shadur is like handing a skinny kid a microphone and letting him tear apart someone's image when they're not even there to defend themselves. He made it clear that this kind of behavior isn't good for anyone. It's cheap, unfair, and does nothing to build the game or the players. While Denzel didn't name him outright at first, it was obvious he was referring to Grossi, especially given his jab about those skinny arms. And in Denzel's eyes, the criticism was well-deserved. Tony had it coming. His fiery reaction wasn't some emotional slip. It was a response that had been a long time coming.
I don't talk about it.
Well, let me leave
I'm
you
not
on
some
this.
skinny kid, you know, who never played a day in his life, and now he can get back at everybody because he got a mic in his face and show.
Well, let me leave you on this. I know, like you say.
But now I really feel
You play varsity.
people need to shut up.
I'm gonna close it out, right? I got my equalizer.
People
box.
need to shut up.
For far too long, Tony Grossi had turned a blind eye to every positive thing Shedeur Sanders had brought to the field, choosing instead to highlight only the negatives. The tipping point came when Grossi openly mocked Shedeur's arm soreness on air, brushing it off as if it were a laughable excuse. With a smug tone, he claimed Shedeur had somehow managed to get sore after taking fewer reps than any other quarterback on the roster.
Productive because he's got a sore arm.
Okay, so you're using that as a negative against the kid?
I don't understand.
Jesus God, would you give him a chance?
Well,
My God,
here's the
because his
thing.
arm's sore?
Yeah.
What, that's a negative? That the kid's got a sore arm?
Yes.
Because he's working too hard? The hell out of here.
Working against who?
It was a cheap shot, and Denzel knew it. Grossi's words didn't just question Shedeur's durability, they disrespected his work ethic, his commitment, and his grit. This wasn't about playful banter, it was about deliberately undermining a young player's reputation, and Denzel wasn't about to let that slide. This wasn't the first time Tony Grossi had been called out. Shadur himself had done it just a game earlier, and he did it in style. Fresh off an electric performance, Shadur wasn't holding anything back. With a determined glare and a chip on his shoulder, he walked right up to Tony and asked, "So Tony, got anything good to say about me now?" He didn't leave it there. "You've been throwing shade at me for no reason," he continued, "and I've never done a thing to you. What's your deal, man?" The air was thick with tension. This was more than a player confronting a critic. It was a raw, unfiltered moment that would have fans and media buzzing for days. And what happened after that? Well, you'll want to stick around for it, because this story is just getting started. Shedeur Sanders' pointed questions caught Tony Grossi completely off guard. The seasoned reporter, clearly rattled, struggled to hide his frustration. The exchange had clearly struck a nerve, but to be fair, Grossi had brought it on himself. After years of taking unwarranted shots, Shedeur finally decided it was time to push back. And just when it looked like things might boil over, Shedeur flipped the script. With a sly grin, he broke the tension with a laugh, revealing the whole thing had been a setup. The heated standoff suddenly shifted into a light-hearted jab. Still, beneath the playful tone, Shedeur's message was unmistakable. Grossi's criticism had been out of line, and if it stung to be called out, then maybe it was time for him to learn how to take it.
What up? I need somebody everything. What up, man? Come on, Tony. What I do? What I do to you, Tony?
In the end, this entire chain of events, Denzel Washington's fiery defense, Shedeur Sanders' own confrontations, and the ongoing tension with Tony Grossi paints a clear picture of what happens when passion meets criticism head-on. Denzel didn't just step in as a fan, he stepped in as someone who understands the value of lived experience and the weight of unfair judgment. His words cut through the noise, exposing how easy it is for those on the sidelines to throw stones without ever having faced the challenges they mock. Shedeur, for his part, proved that he's not afraid to face his critics directly, whether it was challenging Grossi after a stellar performance or flipping a heated moment into a playful tease. He showed both confidence and control. These moments weren't just about clapping back, they were about reclaiming the narrative and refusing to let baseless negativity define his story. Tony Grossi became the face of a larger issue in sports media: the tendency to nitpick and undermine rather than acknowledge talent and effort. And in calling him out, both Denzel and Shedeur sent a message to all critics. Constructive feedback is fair game, but cheap shots will be met with resistance. Ultimately, this saga isn't just about a quarterback under fire or a Hollywood icon rushing to his defense. It's about standing up against unfair treatment, protecting your name, and demanding respect in a space that often thrives on tearing people down. It's a reminder that in sports, as in life, there will always be noise, but it's how you respond to it that defines your legacy. What do you think about Denzel Washington stepping in to defend Shedeur Sanders so passionately? Do you believe critics like Tony Grossi have crossed the line by mocking him for his injuries and undermining his performances? Should sports analysts be held to a higher standard when discussing athletes, especially when they've never experienced the game at that level themselves? And do you think Shedeur's confrontations with his critics were the right way to handle the situation, or should he have stayed silent and let his game do the talking?